I went through a stage where I found it really difficult to put my head on the pillow. The feeling of my head on the pillow just felt so wrong. The pillow just felt so much bigger than me, and then if I put my head on my pillow, I felt like I was just gonna I don't know, fall through it. My hands just felt really, really fragile. They would feel so thin. Sometimes they were genuinely smaller, but most of the time they just felt like paper. Everything was really out of proportion. Also, sound was very distorted quite a lot of the time. Even though there wasn't any sound in the near vicinity, I'd just hear shouting in my head. Someone would be shouting, it would be getting louder, and then it would go quieter and louder again, quieter again. It was just really distressing. In Wonderland Syndrome, a lot of body parts can feel distorted and just out of proportion. A body part would look the same size. If you looked in the mirror, it would look the same. It wasn't a visual thing, it was an emotional thing. It was, your body felt different. I think some people had it a full body experience where they seemed a lot smaller or bigger in proportion to the rest of their room or the environment they were in. But quite a lot of people, especially me, it was in particular body parts, like my hands felt a lot smaller or just a lot thinner, more delicate. If I was experiencing this at night, I would go find my mum. I'd normally just sit on her lap, just in a chair, normally by the computer, and I would just sit there and trying to regain what reality was actually like. Another thing that I used to do was that I used to put socks on my hands. I thought if I put socks on my hands, I'd be able to feel the socks around my hands, and I knew what socks felt like. So therefore, that made it quicker for me to kind of step out of those fits. This Wonderland Syndrome, I really do think, influenced my imagination as a kid. I used to draw a lot as a kid. It used to be my favourite thing to do, and I ended up drawing some pretty freaky stuff. Not freaky, but just stuff that you wouldn't expect a normal kid to draw.
So I actually had the Wonderland Syndrome too. I just didn't know about it until recently when I was talking to Jenny, and she told me there was a name for the things I'd experienced.
The distortion of perception and sizes was mainly in my hands. I couldn't touch anything because it would feel so weird and wrong, and then the rest of the room seemed really far away. In fact, it was so bad that it actually led to panic attacks. My heart rate went up really high, and I just used to pace around waiting for it to go away. I even went to the hospitals and they had my heart checked, but they couldn't find anything. There's a couple of medical conditions that relate to the Wonderland Syndrome or that can cause it. But in the vast majority of cases, there is no clinical explanation. The only thing that seems to be fairly common, but still isn't true for me, is people who have the Wonderland Syndrome very often experience migraines too.
When I was younger, I used to have just the Wonderland Syndrome. But as I grew up, as I went through puberty, I used to get migraines a lot, and really painful ones as well. So they weren't directly correlated. I wouldn't have Wonderland Syndrome, then a migraine. It was very much the Wonderland Syndrome was a migraine, just without the pain, and then as I grew up, I got actual typical migraines. So the reason why it's called Alice in Wonderland Syndrome is because Lewis Carroll is assumed that he had a lot of migraines and sort of experienced the same things like growing and shrinking and stuff in his mind. People think that that influenced Alice's experiences in his books. I think it finally stopped when I was around 14. It's so confusing. You don't know what's going on. It feels so real. You feel like you sort of lost yourself. And to not have that anymore is very nice.
Eventually I stopped having the Alice in Wonderland fits when I was around the age of 15. I'm very happy they stopped. I just wish somebody told me what it was earlier, because I feel like that would have made it easier to get through it without feeling like you're going a bit mad.